Yay! Okay, we're here. Okay, back again. I had to do this twice. I'm not gonna say why, but I did. Aggressive mimicry. Predators in disguise. So this is a presentation of aggressive mimicry. The picture to your left just shows some of the relative animals that I'll be talking about within the presentation, and it's presented by me. Okay, overview, general information. Okay, here we go. Aggressive mimicry is the use of deception by a predator to catch prey. It's mainly to give a false sense of security. It can be used to deter as well, but mainly just for like ambush predators and things like that, to exploit other organisms. We'll see that in a minute too. The first instance of this trait being classified or identified was in like 1968 by W. Wickler. He was studying the etymology of anglerfish. Yeah, and he classified them as an aggressive, using aggressive mimicry. Um, I have questions as well that I will answer later. Why is aggressive mimicry involved in such diverse species? Can environmental factors play a role in how they evolve their trait? Um, answer is yes. We'll talk about that later as well. Topics discussed: animals with the trait. We'll go over alligator snapping turtle, spider-tailed viper, mimic octopus, spider ant, and technically Venus flytrap is an animal, but it's on there because it is. Discussion, reasoning of questions and conclusion. Technically, just really just reasoning of our comparisons. It's mainly just reasoning of questions, but they do compare them in there just to show how they evolved it and like things like that. And then summary and future impacts, mainly climate future impacts. Probably should have changed it, but it's okay. We're already here. Animal alligator snapping turtles. So habitat. They're endemic to the southeastern portion of the United States, like the Panhandle of Florida, Texas, or in more majority part of Texas on riverbanks and things like that. In the northern part, you can find them in Louisiana on the northern portion. They really like the Mississippi River, so they're pretty much all the way up and down Mississippi River up to Mississippi. They like slow moving rivers, canals, and ponds, and swamps with muddy bottoms with heavy coverage. So, kind of like the Everglades. Their domain is a Eukarya. Their family is a Coelurgia. I'm going to butcher these. Their genus is a Mardohylis teminicus. Temenichi. I'm gonna butcher that too, so get used to it. Evolution is about 70 to 90 million years ago during the Cretaceous period. It evolved its trait due to low visibility and sedentary lifestyle. A sedentary lifestyle. They don't move a lot. The image right there is alligator snapping turtle sunbathing. You actually see its little pink tongue compared to the rest of its body because like the inside of its mouth is also dark gray. So yeah. Aggressive mimicry. So what its trait is it uses its tongue to track prey that can't see the turtle itself. They usually don't see the turtle because its mouth is open like this, 180 degrees almost, and it's dark gray and in murky water. So yeah, they use their tongue like this. They move their worm-like tongue like this to lure in prey, kind of like when you go fishing. They're tertiary consumers, so they eat small mammals and fish, mainly bluegill and crappie, like small crappie or minnows. Lots and lots of minnows. They can also blend in the environment by having algae growth on their backs by sitting underwater for a long period of time, about 40 to 50 minutes actually at times. Then they have to go up to get air where they breathe through their necks. If you see those little spurs. Um, their size is they weigh about 200 pounds. They also get about 31 inches. Typically, males are bigger, so males can actually get about 250 pounds, which is drastically bigger. Like, it doesn't sound bigger, but it is. Reproduction, they do internal fertilization. They're very hostile during this time period, even to their own species. Their eggs are laid in concealed nests, like kind of like alligators. Yeah, go figure. Incubation period is about 100 days, give or take. Yeah. The image shows an alligator turtle. You see the discoloration at its tongue right there. See how, it can fool animals. Um, Habitat for the spider-tailed viper, on the spider-tailed viper. So it's found in the Zagros Mountains of Iran. It's very secluded and limited access of study. Not a lot of people know much about this. It's very, very niche on a lot of stuff that's known about it. Its family is part of the Viperidae, which it's just vipers. They're very venomous. Like most of them are highly venomous. Domain is Eukarya. Genus is Pseudo. There is Tes Eurochones des. I butchered it. Not much is known about their lineage, but researchers think they're about 20 to 25 million years old. Most reasonable assumption for its evolution is the scarce amount of prey it has and poor mobility for prey, which led it to be an ambush predator. They don't really move that much. They just kind of sit there. You can actually see the tail in that picture at the very bottom left hand of the picture, but we'll see another one here in a minute. Um, so, as you see the discoloration between the spider and its tail, it will coil up like that whenever it's hunting prey with its tail. Its tail is actually called a caldera lure. It's very reminiscent of a rattlesnake, but it's a little different. The spider tail draws attention from animals by mimicking the scurrying motion of spiders and other arachnids on a rock. Like they move it on a solid, flat rock surface sometimes, or it can just be in a rock surface. Most of this environment is visual. So if a bird, they have really good eyesight. So if they see something moving, they're going to attack it. It helps. Their scales really help with the pigmentation because the sandstone they usually sit on is very reminiscent to what their scales already look like. They hunt small mammals and birds like raptors. They really just sit in crevices, and when they get small animals, it's usually like a rodent. Um, Size and lifespan. So they live about they're about 20 to 20 24 to 28 inches in length. Um, Lifespan is unknown. They it's just unknown. They base it mainly on most vipers, which is about 10 to 20 years. So animal mimic octopus. Oh boy. Okay, found on the seafloor of Indo-Pacific, the Indo-Pacific, which Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Lives in shallow, muddy coastal areas, and on tops of reefs. Domain is Eukarya. They Octopidae. This is their family. And their genus name is Tama Octopus mimicus. They likely evolved around what most coleopods did when they formed separate from mollusks about 100 million years ago. The exact age of the trait advancement is unknown, but it's suspected that it's linked to high density of predators and prey. Their pigmentation, they blend in with the ocean floor really well, as you can see in the picture. So, aggressive mimicry trait. So they can mimic up to 15 different animals. Now they can also mimic coral, but that's not what they usually do. They usually use it for defense or to lure in prey, such as sitting as a flatfish. They can also look like a sea star. Yeah, there's a lot of animals they can mimic. The lionfish and sea snake and jellyfish are usually used to deter, but I know some animals do like jellyfish, so and sharks actually like lionfish as well, but they're not going to attack a shark. They use to deter predators. It's actually called multifunctional mimicry, where they can use both. They can interswap how they use it. They possess something called chromatophores, which allow them to change their skin pigmentation rapidly by like reflecting light, like changing how their skin pigmentation is. It's called rapid adaptation. That's what they named it. They grow about 24 inches and live to 1 to 2 years. Um, because most parents die after reproduction, the male, after giving the sperm, is exhausted and dies, and then the female will stay and wait with the eggs usually. Now both of them can, but mainly it's the female that does it, and they'll usually die after that time period has passed because they're exhausted. Um, yeah, they're very smart animals too, like very smart. That's how they also reasonably suspected they came to have this trait. Um, Different forms on the side, you can actually see where it uses it right there. Mainly just the lionfish and sea snake and the flatfish. So yeah. Okay, next is the ant spider. They are found in subtropical and tropical regions like Africa, Asia, and South America, but it's mainly around the equator, where it's warmest and there's a lot of moisture. I like the outer parts of the equator. Habitat is within dense tree canopies, vegetation, leaf litter, basically where most ants are abundant. Taxonomy is Eukarya, and their family is a jumping spider. The Spalacidae. Um, they're Myomarchine. I don't know the genus, how to pronounce the genus name. Um, they were suspected to diverge about 15 million years ago during the Miocene period when a lot of warming happened. Um, Reasonable suspect that it was due to increase in ants and things like that. The trait is seen as behavioral mimicry as well, learned by instinct, due to ants being avoided by predators, due to chemicals that they produce, mainly because of their taste. Also, they're very aggressive. Like ants are very aggressive. Doesn't even mean they're poisonous. They'll just bite the crap out of you. Yeah. So, an ant spider. So, they can mimic the behavior and look of an ant almost perfectly within a colony. For their appearance, they can shrink their thorax, which is just basically the middle. If you go back to the other one, you can actually see where it's shrunk in the middle there on the image of that close up. There's different species, but mainly they just look like an ant. Um, and they can use their forms like an antenna in that picture right there. You can actually see them doing it. It allows them to isolate and eat other ants or steal food from the colony, which makes them a secondary consumer. Their size is about 5 to 10 millimeters, which is relative to most ants. Their lifespan is about 8 months to a year. Um, like most jumping spiders, they use a courtship ritual to mate. Um, they use their arms and legs. They dance kind of like an Egyptian. They put the arms up and they start moving left and right. Um, the females, they protect egg sacs. They're like most arachnids. Um, yeah. And hatchlings. They also take care of hatchlings as well afterwards. Next animal. Okay, so Venus flytrap. These are located in subtropical regions and climates such as North and South Carolina. They really like it here due to poor soil, but I'll get into that as well. It thrives in swamps, bogs, and marshes with extremely poor soil, like especially lacking in nitrogen or just nitrogen rich soil. Their domain is a eukarya. The family is Adora, a Do Siraacea, and their genus is Adonia Miss Scupula. Their evolution is estimated about 65 million years old or years ago. They relatively make it match it up with a real close relative called the water wheel plant, which they also have classified around that time period. And they have a trapping mechanism as well, but it's not as prolific as the Venus flytrap. They can use photosynthesis, so this is why they think they evolved the trait that they have now. They can use photosynthesis, but it doesn't give them enough nutrients. So they have to fill in the gap and compensate for that loss. And how they do that is they evolve to capture insects to fill in that gap. You can actually see here the trigger hairs in its mouth, which is about six usually in most fly traps. The adaptive mimicry trait, so they lure in insects with a sweet smelling scent called a VOC or a volatile organic compound. The bright red interior also helps and makes it look like it's like a fruit or something unnatural in an environment. It gives them a false sense of security, or like a not really just a fall, not natural, but like a flower or something. Um, they usually they most animals treat them like flowers or fruit. Um, their mouth works like mainly a bear trap. So once triggered, it will close, but there's a little bit of stipulation. So two hairs need to be triggered, and then a 20-second timer sets off. After that 20 seconds, it'll close. But if a insect or bug activates five specifically, it will close immediately. Um, this is one of the only plants that knows how to count. So there's that. Lifespan is the size is about 12 inches wide. The trap itself is about 1 inch in length. Lifespan is about 20 years, if everything goes well. In most natural environments, it does. Reproduction. They reproduce asexually by using ribosome division, and sexually via flowers blooming in spring, especially white flowers. I don't know, but that's why. Um, this image shows it digesting a bug. You can actually see it being digested and the fluid being used to digest that bug. Um, you can actually see some of the hairs in the pictures itself. So yeah. Okay. So discussion time. Reasoning for my question. So why is aggressive mimicry evolved in such diverse species? All of these traits evolved independently from their host genus. So it's expected that they really just happened by themselves and due to environmental impacts. Developed instances of mimicry and violate, like I said, for compensating for environmental limitations such as like nutrient scarcity, or food scarcity, or poor visibility, or high predation, like with the mimic octopus. Common themes is high adaptability plus ecological efficiency equals survival advantages. Um, yeah, because of low cost and high reward with this, you don't really have to move as much whenever your entire tactic is ambush predation. Um, so yeah, they can use environmental factors to play a role and wait, can environmental factors play a role in types of evolution that occurs? Okay, so alligator snapping turtles, they're limited on movement and eyesight, so it really pushed them to make the fish come to them with their tongue. Spider-tailed viper, because I put horn because it's technically what they are. Um, Barren rocky terrain is what they like, and it's a very visible movement require like this area requires a lot of visible movement. So the tail mimicking spider where they move sporadically is very essential for this kind of environment. Um, Mimic octopus, they live in densely packed areas like reefs, which require dynamic mimicry by having multiple ways to do things. Um, so they can hunt, hide, and have a rapid response mechanism. Just like alligator snapper turtle, these environments are moment by moment. They move really fast, unlike a spider-tailed viper or ant spider, where they're kind of more immediate. And same thing with Venus flytrap. Um, yeah. Ant spiders. So the high density of aggressive ants and predators led to the behavioral mimicry. It's also suspected that due to how ants interact, they thought it was easy to exploit them, which, they're not dumb, but they're not that great at reading the room. Venus flytraps, because of poor soil, they can no longer produce photosynthesis. So that's one reasoning to why it forced them to adapt a lure instinct to be able to get those nutrients and compensate. Um, like that is also an environmental factor. Um, yeah. And spiders is also due to increasing temperature. So there's that. Okay, future impacts or future research impacts and conclusions. Um, so climate change. With rising temps, habitat destruction and fragmentation will pose more of a threat to these mimicry adapted animals, because there will be less and less resources for them, and they'll be hosted to a completely new environment. It's suspected that a lot of these adaptations will have to adapt further, um, or just basically they won't they won't be able to survive. Like they'll go extinct if they can't adapt to the rising competition and lowering of resources. Examples: alligator sampers already struggle with increased food scarcity and isolation. Spider-tailed vipers are very limited on the amount of prey that they get, and warming trends will make this just worse because those areas that they live will become inhabitable. Inhabitable. Um, Mimic octopus, they could lose models like mimicry models where they look like animals, like lionfish and sea snakes, in reef ecosystems as they start to collapse. Um, that's another thing. These animals may thrive due to expand. Okay, so the ant spider is one of the few that actually may like climate change. Their habitat will expand more north as it gets warmer, more moisture is in the air. due to warming zones, more availability to exploit mimicry, and ants due to more ants. Venus flytrap. This one's pish posh. It's a hit or miss whether it actually affects them or not. Decline in insects could affect it, but due to preferring warmer climates, the niche passive nature will probably won't see a detriment on these animals and their traits. It won't really do anything to them, but it's not great either because it's not really known what will happen as like the other ones. Also, there's a fungal sketch there. You'll see more warming with climate change and more moisture from the ocean due to water being released in the atmosphere and more storms. But yeah, um, thank you. And these are my references. So there you go. Yeah, boom, done. Yep. There's also yeah. So there you go.